Welcome to Employco's HR Chat. I'm Rob Wilson, president of Employco, and with me is Jason Eisner, our vice president of HR.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks for joining us. So, Jason, recent news: the federal government has changed the I-9 process, and it's a form that over the years, anybody that has been onboarding employees over the years, they tend to change the form every couple of years. It's typically the same information. Right before COVID, a year or two before COVID, they had an extensive change. It became like a 9-page form. But now it's a big update for those remote employees.
Yeah, and we're still using the same form. So if you notice in the upper right corner, it says expires October of 2022. Still using that same form.
Right. No date on when they're going to set the new one.
Exactly. So there were some kind of temporary relaxed rules related to the physical inspection of people's IDs. That's the driver's license or passport or birth certificate. During COVID, if the employee was not reporting into a work location that had employees in it, the employer could didn't have to physically hold the driver's license in their hand. They could review it maybe through a Zoom or a scan or something like that.
A Zoom, a scan copy, photocopy. Because you've got during COVID, you had so many companies. Your employees were remote.
Exactly, and it was good. I mean, protected people. The pandemic. Now that the pandemic, the emergency is being lifted by the government.
Over.
Exactly right. So now employers, that the Department of Homeland Security has announced that as of July 31st, employers can no longer do the remote verification of it. So you need to have someone physically there. It doesn't have to be someone part of your organization. You can name an authorized representative that's outside of your organization. It even could be someone in that person's household if they're really, really remote. There's some liability there, but there's an additional 30-day grace period where the employer needs to go back and physically review any of the documents like the driver's license, passport that were remotely verified over the last 3 years.
And that's your biggest challenge. So when you look at it, it's not the moving forward. It's everybody you've hired since March of 2020.
Exactly.
Those are the people that you're currently employed, and you've got to go and you have to physically see their IDs and re-verify. So that's where you've got a decent amount of work.
Yeah, especially if organizations, the bigger organizations and the bigger more that they've hired remote employees, go back, start kind of, if you haven't already, try and go back now and take a note of every I-9 that was remotely verified, because those are the ones you're going to have physically look at the person's identification before August 30th and make notes. And there's a little box in the I-9, the section 2, the employer page, that says additional information. You're supposed to write physically verified on July 30th or whatever date it is.
Right. So, yeah, it's very useful information. And for that group of, you figure you've got 3 years of employees that were hired where the I-9s were lax. So it's a little bit of homework for everybody.
Exactly.
Good
point.
But thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Jason at hr@employco.com. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.